I'm your host, Siddharth, and I welcome you all to the biggest Indian youth talk show, Yuvamanch, the inspiring stories of Indian youth. Yuvamanch is a captivating online talk show presented by the Upskilling Panda and the media partner Samacharjustclick and the publishing partner, the Dawn Publishers. The ambitious idea of Yuvamanch is to inspire and motivating young individuals by featuring their stories of success in the field of entrepreneurship, education and research, art and culture, sports, yoga, and social services. I welcome you all for the episode 4 of Indian Youth Talk Show Yuva Manch. Now, it's my distinct honor to introduce to you our esteemed talk show speaker, who is a business advisor, entrepreneur, and coach by profession, who has received an honor as one of the top 40 startups of India in 40 under 40 featured by the Indian Express. Also, she is a mentor to many startups in various incubations across India. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in giving a warm welcome to today's guest, Jayanti M.
Good evening and good afternoon, everyone. Namaste.
Namaste. Well, friends, Jayanti M is an expert with the ability to transform, innovate, and deliver strong financial returns. She is a master's in business administration and MSc in psychotherapy and counseling, having more than 15 years of experience in diverse fields, primarily banking, consulting organization, and worked with renowned companies such as HSBC and Dell. Jayanti is a serial entrepreneur who is a co-founder of ManikastuAgro Pvt. And also, she has received prestigious awards such as Women of Substance Award 2019, ICC Women's Summit 2020 Changemaker, and OTV Award Aspiring Entrepreneur. Apart from that, she is much passionate about and interest areas are technological connection to business and natural parenting. She is a well-known individual in the farming community across India. And it's so fortunate for us you are with us, gentlemen. Welcome once again.
Thank you so much. Actually, I would like to take this privilege that I'm privileged to be here, and I'm definitely honored to be in this forum today. Thanks
Thank
once
you
again.
so much. Thank you so much. So without further delay, the whole world, different parts of India and world, people are watching us now and they are excited to know much about your journey. I'm sure that they will get a lot of deep insight and your words of wisdom will definitely inspire many youth over here. So, ma'am, tell us something more about, how do you start this, ManikastuAgro Private Limited and what inspired you to do so? Over to you, ma'am. You have to mute, ma'am. Your voice is not
Um,
audible. Yes.
am I audible now?
Yes, yes, yes.
So, uh, as an individual, we are grown up in a very common and a middle class family where all of them were working. My parents, both the sides of my parents, have been working, and we have seen generations over together working. Not only on the mother's side, also from the father's side. My grandmother was working. Both our maternal, paternal grandmothers were working. My mother was working, and we had seen a lot of women working in our family actually, and we belong to a very very nominal uh, a middle class family typically to say during those days, you know and we were fortunate enough to be given that much of exposure, one. Two, it was always the homecoming that we always wanted to come back to our state and take on something. So once schooling and college and everything was over, and gotten a lot of opportunity to work outside, worked for 14, 15 years, and then there was this time that uh, it calls you back that, this is the time that you take a break, come back, do something. And that was always there. And having said that, I was fortunate enough to get a chance to come down to Kalandi at one time, and that was the time I wanted to take on. So one was the farmer suicide, and the upcoming to work with the ground all the time. So agriculture was the field that we wanted to dive into. You did not want to dive into anything else which was more to do with technology. Reason being, Orissa being an agrarian society, you would find at least 65% plus or 70% plus population into agriculture. So there has to be somebody who has to dive down and work it through. It's hard way to work, but I think that was the calling for us. And goat rearing was again a very well thought idea. Reason being a shore community, we are all mostly non-vegetarian belt, and considering that Chevan is one of the primary foods, and non-veg is one of the primary foods. And having said that, goats was the best to move into, which would help farmers and society and the community develop in terms of economy, develop in terms of social aspect, and if we look at an overall uh, contribution, also not only towards the GDP but also towards overall health of the society. Looking at all that aspect, we thought that goat rearing and intervention in that area will always make a difference. On a larger scale, if we are looking at that, then we also consider that Orissa needs to be one of those, like the corridors for best Chevan and goat products. Reason being, we are a very connected state towards the Middle East, towards the other countries, and it's easy to not only commute but also communicate. So considering that at a later stage, yes, we dream of Orissa being one of the destination and the chosen destinations for the best of the world's best uh, goat products, and processed products like milk and other products made out of goat milk and Chevan as well. Thank you.
That's great. I mean, it's truly inspiring. And I remember a quote, सीढ़ियां उनको मुबारक जिन्हें छत पे जाना है, वो तो अपना रास्ता खुद चुनते हैं, जिन्हें आसमान पे जाना है. ये दिल मांगे मोर, that the spirit is
भी
good to
करते
know.
हैं कि एक दिन जैसे आज लोग वेंकीज को चिकन के साथ कोरिलेट करते हैं, there will be a day when people will correlate Manikastu with Chevan, with goats, with everything. So.
That's great, ma'am. That's good to know about your, journey and transformation to that process. Well, it's always, and I believe because we all are into the field of, training and development, and always there is challenges faced by the youth of our country. So perhaps your thought on, your early days of your career, in your opinion, what is the most important skill or strength someone should have necessary to be successful in today's world?
I think there are three pillars to it. The first, blindly anybody can talk about, is hard work. You cannot say that there is a short way to it. Everyone who has been successful has gone the hard way. So the first pillar would be hard work. The second is you really need to have a lot of patience, in which is a challenge in today's day. For every youth, we all want to see, और हम सभी को बहुत जल्दी सब कुछ चाहिए जो पॉसिबल नहीं होता. तो जिसके पास पेशेंस है वो डेफिनेटली सक्सेस का मंत्रा है. The third is कंसिस्टेंसी एंड इंटेग्रिटी। आप परसिवियर करो, आप कंसिस्टेंट रहो, और इंटेग्रिटी हैज टू बी अ पार्ट एंड ब्लड ऑफ योर लाइफ। ये 3 चीज जिसके पास है, आप उनको कभी भी अनसक्सेसफुल नहीं देखेंगे। वो कई बार नीचे गिर सकते हैं, बट दे विल नॉट बी अनसक्सेसफुल। एवरी टाइम दे विल गेट अप, रन, रीच समवेयर।
That's
So
great,
for
ma'am.
me, I still feel that these are the 3 things one can actually get pulled by.
Great, ma'am. I mean, that's true. Success is important, but much more important is the journey towards the success, right? And that's the real
Yeah,
teacher for all of us. That's true.
exactly.
Great about
So
it.
learning is a part of it.
True, true. Lifelong learning. L3 is very critical
Yeah,
for all of us. That's
very,
true.
very
Great,
critical, extremely critical.
great. And also, very often this youth, very commonly they say, "Mujhe business karna hai. I wanted to do a businessman." So if you draw a line, how do you differentiate, the term businessman and entrepreneurship?
मैं एक बहुत अच्छा कहानी बोलती हूँ इसके ऊपर। It will take
Please.
me probably few seconds. और बिकॉज हम फार्मिंग से हैं और हम फार्मिंग और एग्री से वर्क करते हैं, तो मैं आपको एग्रीकल्चर का ही एग्जांपल दे देती हूँ। गर्मियों का दिन आने वाला है। एक फार्मर थोड़े से एडवांस्ड हैं, उन्होंने डिसाइड किया कि मैं वाटरमेलन प्रोड्यूस करूंगा। तो वो वाटरमेलन को प्रोड्यूस करने के लिए जो भी प्रोसेसेस है वो करने लग जाते हैं अभी से, सो दैट ठीक गर्मियों का सीजन आते ही फर्स्ट क्रॉप उनका निकल जाए जिसमें सबसे अच्छा डिमांड हो। सो वो एक कैटेगरी के लोग हैं जो प्रोड्यूस करते हैं। फिर वो प्रोड्यूस हो गया, अब उनको मार्केट में बेचे कहाँ पे? तो उनके पास प्रोड्यूस है करके किसी को खबर गया मंडी में, मंडी वाले आ गए कि भाई अब मंडी से डायरेक्ट तो आएंगे नहीं, वो किसी को भेजेंगे, राइट? उनके नेटवर्क के लोगों को। सो वो नेटवर्क के लोग आ गए, बोले कि भाई हम आपको इतना देंगे और आप हमें मंडी में हम खुद लेके पहुंचा देंगे, आपको जाने की भी जरूरत नहीं है। So the producer feels very happy. He spends 5 rupees, or say consider he spends 5 rupees on each of the watermelon produce unit wise. So उसको उनको मिल जाता है, वो कहते हैं कि हम आपको 10 रुपए दे देंगे। जो प्रोड्यूसर है वो खुश हो गए कि भाई मेरा फर्स्ट क्रॉप है, मेरे को तो 10 रुपए मिल गए, मेरे को 100% प्रॉफिट आ गया। जी ठीक है। अब वो क्या करते हैं, अब ये जो नेटवर्क वाले बंदे हैं वो जाके मंडी में दे दिए, क्या जी हम तो ट्रांसपोर्ट गए, हमने काम भी किया आपका, अब आप हमारे को 25 रुपए दे दो एक का। तो उन्होंने कितना प्रॉफिट बनाया? 15 रुपए प्रॉफिट बनाया। अब मंडी वाले आगे कॉल लगा देते हैं जी, कैटेगरी ए बी सी डी ई, तो 25 से नहीं, ये 35 रुपीज, ये 45 रुपीज, 55 रुपीज, सबसे बेस्ट 60 रुपीज। अब वो मंडी से फिर नेटवर्क के लोग आएंगे जो मार्केट तक लेके जाएंगे और वहां पे और हाई एंड में बिकेगा। अब मेरे एक फ्रेंड है, उन्होंने बोला कि अरे आजकल हेल्थ के लिए लोग पागल हुए रहते हैं, मैं काम करता हूँ, मेरे 2 स्टूडेंट्स हैं, मैं तो इंक्यूबेशन में हूँ, मेरे 2 स्टूडेंट्स हैं, उनको बोलता हूँ कि तुम जूस लगा लो, फ्रेश जूस, पार्क के उधर जो लोग जॉगिंग के लिए आते हैं ना, उनको दे दो। तो उन्होंने एक वाटरमेलन खरीदा कुछ 100 रुपए में, राइट? पर एक वाटरमेलन से उन्होंने 20 ग्लास जूस बना लिए और पर ग्लास उन्होंने बेच दिया 20 रुपए में, क्योंकि फ्रेश जूस है, छोटा ग्लास है। तो एक ही वाटरमेलन का अगर आप देखेंगे, ये सारे कॉन्वर्सेशन में सबसे नीचे कौन है? प्रोड्यूसर है। अब आप उनको बिजनेसमैन बोलेंगे, एंटरप्रेन्योर बोलेंगे, क्या बोलेंगे? वो ना ही एंटरप्रेन्योर है, ना ही बिजनेसमैन है, वो प्रोड्यूसर है। तो वो एक डिफरेंट, पर वो बिजनेस में कैटेगरी में जाते हैं। जो असली बिजनेसमैन है, जितने भी बीच में ये सारे आए, वो सारे बिजनेसमैन है। उनमें से कोई एक भी एंटरप्रेन्योर नहीं है। क्यों नहीं है? क्योंकि उन्होंने ना तो ग्राउंड को टच किया और ना ही फ्रंट एंड को टच किया। अब मेरे दोस्त के दोस्त एक हैं, उन्होंने क्या किया, सेम वाटरमेलन जूस को उसमें 1 ड्रॉप 2 ड्रॉप हनी डाल दिया, 1 तुलसी का पत्ता डाल दिया, 1-2 मिंट लीव डाल दिया, ठीक है, और 2 ड्रॉप नींबू का डाल दिया। अब ये कौन सा जूस हो गया? फैट कटर हो गया वो, इम्यूनिटी बूस्टर हो गया वो, राइट? तो सेम जो 20 रुपीज में बिक रहा था जो फ्रेश जूस, इतना एडिशन के बाद अभी वो 50 रुपीज में बिका, क्योंकि लेमन है, बेसिल है और बाकी सब कुछ भी है। अब वही दोस्त क्या करते हैं, वो बोलते हैं कि मैं काम करता हूं, मैं डायरेक्टली फार्मर से लेने जाता हूं, मैं यहाँ रिटेल से क्यों खरीदूं, मैं फार्मर के पास जाता हूँ, उनको 10 रुपए के जगह उनको मैं 25 रुपए दे देता हूँ और इसी जूस को मैं 125 में बेच देता हूँ, पैकेज भी कर लूंगा, बेच भी दूंगा और उसका जो वेस्ट निकलेगा उसको भी प्रोसेस करके मैन्योर या कोई कुछ तो भी और प्रोसेस करके उसको भी बेच दूंगा। तो मेरा जो भी प्रॉफिट होगा, मेरे अपने प्रॉफिट से कुछ 100% और बढ़ाने के लिए मैं जो बॉटम लाइन है मैं उनके लिए कुछ कर लूंगा। सो ये है फर्क एंटरप्रेन्योर में और बिजनेसमैन में। जो
That's great.
एंटरप्रेन्योर होते हैं वो बॉटम लाइन टॉप लाइन दोनों टच करते हैं और दोनों पे इम्पैक्ट करते हैं। और आप ये
True.
सिंपली कहीं पे भी आप ये एग्जाम्पल देख सकते हो, वो मार्केट डिसरप्ट करें, दुनिया में वो कुछ भी करें, पर ये दोनों को वो बैलेंस करते हैं। जो बिजनेसमैन होते हैं वो सिर्फ 100% प्रॉफिट देखेंगे और थोड़ा सा मार्जिन देखेंगे, नंबर्स पे खेल जाएंगे, एक ही कैटेगरी पे वो टॉप पे ही जो भी इम्पैक्ट होगा, बॉटम पे कोई इम्पैक्ट नहीं रहेगा। So this is the difference. Hopefully you all
Great.
will remember it again. Thank you.
Yeah, very true. That's a very interesting, in fact, and very insightful. It's very important, as you rightly said, that it's how do you, identify the opportunity and create a value proposition to the market that gives you a value in return. That's true. Great. So, ma'am, can you also tell us something more about, when we're talking about the young generation, just start up something as an entrepreneur, right? So, what are the biggest,
Yeah.
failure as a first-time entrepreneur can happen according to you, and how do they should overcome those challenges as a beginner?
So one of the ways to look at it is आप अगर अपने पैशन को blend करेंगे अपने करियर को के साथ, then I think entrepreneurship is the right path. Reason is अगर दुनिया में आप वो करें जो आपको मन करता है, तो फिर आप खाना पीना जीना भूलेंगे, क्योंकि आपको वो कर जाना है। और एक एंटरप्रेन्योर के लिए ये पैशन होना बहुत जरूरी है। सो द फर्स्ट थिंग इज, आप कहीं पे भी, आप रोजमर्रा के जिंदगी में जहां भी आपको चैलेंजेस आते हैं, क्या मेरे पास कोई सॉल्यूशन है उन चैलेंजेस के लिए, और क्या वो सॉल्यूशन स्केल कर सकता है, तो वो मेरा बिजनेस हो सकता है। और उस बिजनेस के जरिए मैं प्रॉब्लम भी सॉल्व करती हूँ या करता हूँ, and in addition to that I am also making sure that lot of people are benefited, including the ecology and the environment, because sustainability is also one of the parts of it. Along with that, you also look at those 17 SDGs nowadays, because environment is equally important and you need to think through every time you're doing business. So factory laga dena is not a big thing, but factory ka jo waste hai, how to recycle that and make sure that that environment is clean is also as important. So one is this. Second is, again, as I said, a lot of patience. बहुतों को लगता है कि पैसे होने से business idea होगा और business चलेगा, That's a wrong notion altogether. Why? Because not only the government, both the center, state, and most of the states now are creating ecosystems which is very, very conducive for businesses and entrepreneurship. रीजन बीइंग, अगर हम अपने कंट्री में अपने लिए कुछ अच्छा करेंगे और 10 लोगों को जॉब दिलाएंगे, then it will always have a straight impact on the GDP of the country and the economic value of the country. So it is your share to make a difference to the country. Tax de dena is a big thing, but not only that tax is important, but also how many lives are you making difference to. So an entrepreneur has to think, how many lives will I change or will I touch in my journey of doing the business and making good for others. एंड बहुत ही सिंपल चीज है, जब आप 1 रुपए किसी को देते हैं तो 1 रुपए आपने एक्सचेंज किया किसी के साथ से, सत्या सर के साथ मैंने 1 रुपए सत्या जी आपको दिया, आपने मुझे 1 रुपए दिए। तो जब आप लक्ष्मी शेयर करते हैं ना, तो वो कंसिस्टेंट रहती है, पर जब आप नॉलेज शेयर करते हैं तो वो एक्सपोनेंशियली मल्टीप्लाई होता है। आपके पास एक आइडिया है, मेरे पास एक आइडिया है, हम दोनों शेयर किए तो हम दोनों के पास 2-2 आइडियाज हो गए। पर पैसे हमने किसी के साथ एक्सचेंज किए तो वो पैसे बढ़ नहीं जाएंगे, वो उतना ही रहेगा। तो ये हमें चूज करना है कि क्या हमें नॉलेज शेयर करके बड़ा होना है या पैसे ही एक्सचेंज करके उतने में रहना है। सो फॉर बिजनेसेस, फॉर आइडियाज, आप ये सोचता है आपको कि आप अपने नॉलेज से कितना डिफरेंस कर पाएंगे और वो नॉलेज आप कैसे इम्प्लीमेंट करेंगे जो उससे एक्सेलेंस होगा, और एक्सेलेंस हुआ मीन्स पैसे अपने आप आ ही जाएंगे। दैट इज द बाय प्रोडक्ट ऑफ योर नॉलेज एंड योर हार्ड वर्क. So these are the things that one needs to really think of when you are talking about entrepreneurship. जो जिनका थॉट्स होता है कि पैसे होंगे तभी हम एंटरप्रेन्योर बनेंगे, वो गलत हो जाएगा, फिर वो मैथमेटिक्स ही गलत हो जाता है।
True. Well said, ma'am. Yes, that's why in the Indian culture we strongly believe, you always, pray Saraswati Lakshmi will come to you, right? You cannot divide. That's true. And ma'am, I do believe that you
को लीजिए तो लक्ष्मी आ जाएंगे, तो दुर्गा तो पावर है, दोनों साथ में होंगे तो पावर तो कहीं नहीं जाएंगे, वो ऑटोमेटिकली है साथ में।
True. And ma'am, with your experience, as my understanding, you also be part of various incubation center and you mentor various young minds of our country. And I do believe that if talking about rural India, talking about village, very interior, people have a good idea, right, but they could not able to channelize it. So how do you connect? Is there any kind of scope they can get into where they can,
there is a lot of scope. Abhi recently, if you would have seen Startup Express and Startup Yatra, ये हमारे स्टेट में हुआ था। स्टार्टअप यात्रा इज समथिंग विच एक्चुअली गोज ऑन फ्रॉम द सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट, ये पूरे कंट्री में होता है, हर स्टार्टअप के लिए होता है ये। और स्टार्टअप एक्सप्रेस जो है वो स्कूल्स के लिए है। स्कूल्स में आप अगर अच्छा आइडिया है कोई, तो आपके जो क्लास टीचर्स हैं और जो L1 टीचर्स या वाइस प्रिंसिपल्स हैं, आप उनके साथ शेयर करें और वो आइडिया, वो स्टार्टअप एक्सप्रेस का जो स्टार्टअप इंडिया एंड स्टार्टअप एक्सप्रेस या स्टेट का जो भी स्टार्टअप है, गवर्नमेंट का जो वेबसाइट है, so say for example for Odisha it will be www.startuporissa.gov.in, and for Startup India it is www.startupindia.in, okay, .gov.in. तो ये दोनों साइट में आप अपने आइडियाज को अपलोड कर सकते हैं और वहां से आपको डायरेक्टली कॉल भी आ जाएगा। वहां पे कॉल नंबर्स हैं, कॉन्टैक्ट नंबर्स हैं एंड ईमेल आईडीज भी हैं। और हर स्टेट में डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स के जो मेजर कॉलेजेस होते हैं वहां पे इंक्यूबेशन सेंटर्स होते हैं। तो इंक्यूबेशन सेंटर्स का जो कॉन्टैक्ट डिटेल्स है, या आप अगर उसके आसपास कहीं हैं यूनिवर्सिटी के आसपास, तो आप वहां जाके डायरेक्टली भी बात कर सकते हैं। एंड दे आर वेरी सपोर्टिव, यू विल गेट ऑल काइंड्स ऑफ सपोर्ट। आपको एप्लीकेशन फिल करने से स्टार्ट करके आइडिया अगर अप्रूव हो जाता है तो आपको फंडिंग भी मिल सकता है। जैसे रिसेंटली स्टार्टअप यात्रा में टॉप 10 आइडियाज को 3 लाख ईच मिल गए। तो सिर्फ उनका आइडिया था कि ये कर सकते हैं और ये करने से ऐसा कुछ डिफरेंस पड़ेगा। सो वन ऑफ द एग्जांपल्स आई विल गिव यू इज फॉर 3 ऑफ दीज गर्ल्स, जिन्होंने सिंपल सा आइडिया दिया कि जो स्टेट के अंदर जो सिटीज को कनेक्टेड रोड्स हैं, वहां पे वो एक छोटा ईवी चार्जिंग सेंटर विथ कॉफी शॉप एंड रेस्टिंग प्लेस, इतना ही करना चाहते हैं वो। तो जिनका भी इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल्स है वो चार्ज करें, उस टाइम वो थोड़ा सा कॉफी पी लें और 10-15 मिनट रेस्ट करके जा सकें। डिफरेंस इतना है कि जनरल ईवी चार्जिंग से उनका ईवी चार्जिंग स्टेशन में बहुत डिफरेंस है, टाइम कितना लगता है चार्ज करने में। So that is the only technology that they have worked with. So now they have gotten the first seed money to actually put up and plant one small unit somewhere close and check for next 3 months ki usme kitna unko revenue banta hai. If this works out, they will get the approval for the rest of the state. सिमिलरली आपके पास भी ऐसे कोई भी चैलेंजेस, वो उनके लिए ये चैलेंज क्या था, जब वो दूसरे एक सिटी से दूसरे सिटी को जाते हैं तो रूरल एरियाज में कुछ भी नहीं रहता है, वॉशरूम्स भी नहीं रहता, पानी पीने के लिए या अगर गाड़ी को कुछ हुआ उसके लिए कोई ये नहीं है। तो उस चैलेंज के लिए उन्होंने ये सोल्यूशन बताया। सो सिमिलरली आप सभी के लिए स्टार्टअप इंडिया, स्टार्टअप उड़ीसा, because we are from Odisha, I'm talking about Startup Odisha also, but आप अपने स्टेट का, so when you have your own state startup hub, you need to connect with them. They will help you through and through with the mentors aligned to support you and pull your idea into a reality of business. And we have been doing that for 6-7 years now. We have seen multiple organizations reaching a very, very good height and good numbers as well.
Great, ma'am. That's a very deep insight, and I'm sure that it is beneficial to the viewers today.
And इसमें आपको स्कीम्स भी मिल जाते हैं, जैसे आइडिएशन के लिए एक एप्लीकेशन है। अब आइडिया आपका पास हो गया, अच्छा आइडिया है, आपको फंडिंग हो गया, आपने एक बार एक्सपेरिमेंट कर लिया, उसके रिजल्ट्स दिखा के आपने स्टार्टअप रजिस्टर किया, तो प्री सीड के लिए आप अपने से फिर एप्लीकेशन डाल सकते हो। तो प्री सीड जो है वो भी आप ले सकते हैं। Then once your startup is registered as a company, you have something called as product development के लिए आपको up to 15 to 16 lakhs मिलता है। If you are a female founder, you get 22,000 every month for the first entire year. तो आपको सैलरी का भी स्ट्रेस नहीं होगा। So all these you need to know about. Then there are self certifications, आपको टैक्स में बेनिफिट्स रहता है। There are multiple other support that the government actually drives for entrepreneurs and business ideas. So ये आपको नॉलेज लेके उस पे वर्क करना पड़ेगा।
That's true, ma'am. That's very well said. So, if you're talking about India in the world, we represent as, agri is one of the, core sector for, and that's in fact our own identity across the world.
Okay,
So,
exactly.
according to you, what seems to be the future of agro sector in India, and what are the scope and benefit, being an, aspiring entrepreneurs they can get from government? So over to you, ma'am.
Into the agri sector, it's I would say it's an ocean of opportunities. In fact, one of the areas that you can look at is the technology intervention and the scientific intervention for precision farming. So people from technology background, please come ahead, help farmers with the technological methodologies for precision farming. So when we talk about precision farming, you need to understand in simple language, is my crop going to get damaged? How can I use AI to figure out that there is a possibility of crop damage through a particular pest attack? So if I am able to forecast and get that like a weather forecast, I will be able to save my crop. So that's one area to work in. Second is waste recycling. Through from the rice husk, we are a paddy eating area, right? So there is a lot of these waste of the rice plants and other cultivation that happens. How do we process them into different things? So there is a particular startup who has actually come up with making papers out of rice husk, and those papers can be used to prepare eco bottles, which has the life of 6 months. You can use them for having water, for everything, which can actually immediately replace plastic, which is a danger for the entire universe, in fact, right now. So things like these, one needs to be really innovative and checking on. So that's where the youth can actually intervene. Traditional method of farming, you don't want to get into that, that's fine, but get into making a difference to that traditional method. Okay, the other is food processing. Agri is always allied with food. Health is one of the thrust areas in agriculture as well. So look at our own state. The most of the areas of the state, 80% of women, they fall in the vitamin deficiency. And I talk about personally myself. I am also a severe vitamin D deficient individual right now. So is there a possibility to come up with some kind of processed meal which will help in nutrition fulfillment? Complan, this, that, everything is there. What is that local food that everybody can afford? That's important. So
Great.
food processing, health thrust, and technological intervention into the basic production with precision farming. These are the thrust areas, and people who get into this now will be the Ambanis later. Definite. There's no question of going back on it.
Great, ma'am. Great. I mean, that's well said. Don't only search for the best idea, start working on the idea and make the best idea, right? That's well
Exactly.
said.
Yeah.
Great, great, great. So, finally, ma'am, you're inspiration to so many individuals, right? Who is your inspiration?
I think my inspirations have changed and changed over the time, but uh, my childhood inspiration used to be Mr. Amitabh Bachchan.
Okay.
But not in terms of acting, but in terms of the work that he did and he used to do. My other inspiration is definitely, family is always there, and both sides, parental side, in-laws side, support, everything. That is definitely pretty much a part of it. But the upbringing is also one of the inspirations. While we were brought up, or while in our upbringing, we have seen organizations then, with the small actions of giving away clothes, or asking money for some charity. So those were our smaller inspirations. Uh, so I won't call any typical personality, because multiple personalities. You talk about Atalji, you talk about our ex-president Kalamji. Uh, you know, So from everyone's life, you can actually learn. And I've been learning through and through from everyone's life, and so much so that I've learned multiple times from the neighborhood as well. So that's our inspiration. Orissa as a state is also quite inspiring only if you understand the theological aspect of our state. So we have been into business since ages. We were the first business state of the country, typically during the historic times. So that's the inspiration, I would say.
So great to know about your inspiration, man. Great. I mean, I know, long to talk, but yet we have a limited time on it. But then, I would like to really extend my heartfelt gratitude to our esteemed talks guest, Jayanti M, for sharing her deep insights, words of wisdom, and very importantly, giving a lot of, information and tips on the various government schemes, which is definitely going to be useful for the many aspirant entrepreneur. So really thankful to you, ma'am, for joining with us today. And it was really, your journey is not only inspiring to me and many others, those who are watching, and it's really, encouraging the young entrepreneurs to get into the same line the way you're taking forward today. So thank you so much once again, ma'am. And also, I'd like to thank everyone, the audience across the world who is watching with us now. And it's really means a lot to all of us, right? And special thanks to our media partners, Samacharjustclick, and the publishing partner, the Dawn Publishers, for their continuous support and encouragement. And see you again with another interesting and inspiring story of an individual who is again from our own India. So till then, thank you so much. Namaste. Jai Hind.